Here goes. Right. We are October. And I think all is well. I think I'm going to have to skip straight through to November. Um, let's have a little. Let's have a little look. See. Are either of these tractors' engines running? Good. I'm leaving the engines running. I always think Caleb is going to leap out of the undergrowth and tell me off about it. So let's just remind ourselves where we are. I think we have a beautiful crop of sunflowers that are in good nick. We have more sunflowers over here that are in good nick. Perfect even. And we have a field of sugar beet that is now perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. But on loamy sand. So that's sand with a bit of loam in it, which is not terribly good for yielding. I've got a bit of sandy loam, which is loam with a bit of sand in it. There we go. And the yield potential is 100% there. If you're just on loam, then your yield potential is 125%. But I don't have much loam on this farm. My little field, my little empty field, it's rather fun running through the sunflowers. Pretend to be Theresa May, although she ran through a field of wheat, I think, rather than a field of sunflowers. Now, one little experiment that I think I've done is that I've waited till the weeds have appeared here, and then I've mulched a little patch. So this is a harvested field. It says, it doesn't mention weeds, and I'm just going to see if next month it suddenly says there are weeds present. Because if mulching kills the weeds, permanently kills the weeds, that's a step in the right direction. Let's whiz through to November and see what's going on. Heedly-deedly-do. Great demand at South Distribution Centre, great demand at North Cooperative. Is there a way of knowing what those great demands are for? Or do you just have to go through until you see a blue one? Ping, 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 ping. Oh, I mean, I'm sure there is an answer that you can find immediately. Does it flash on the map? If there's a great demand, does it flash on the map? Is that a thing? I can't see anything flashing. I'm sure there used to be a really obvious way of knowing when you had a great demand. Somebody will be watching this and screaming their head off. Well, nobody's watching it, but somebody, if they were watching it, would be screaming their head off, saying it's obvious. Otherwise, you just go down here, and it'll be a great demand for furniture or something that I have no interest in. Well, I have no financial interest in. I'm not anti-furniture. I don't want big furniture to come after me, claiming that I'm some kind of anti-furniture guy. How quickly can I whiz and still catch a blue one when it pops up? What do you reckon? I just don't seem to be able to go at just that slow enough speed. Maybe if I tap it with this button, then I will spot it when a blue one pops up. This is very boring. I mean, seriously. I'm just interested to know where the great demand is and what it's for. But there doesn't seem to be an easy way to find that out. Which is a bit annoying. So we're in November. What I want to know is whether the weeds have grown back on the bit that I mulched. They haven't. So whilst dealing with other things, I might mulch this entire area. And then just see what happens. Presumably that's it for weeds there. I think that would be I know that ploughing stops weeds from growing, but I often mulch and plough. But I was thinking of direct drilling the whole place this time. And if I've previously mulched it, it may be that after sunflowers you have to plough. I know that there are some plants, some crops that force you to plough afterwards. I don't know if it's sunflowers or if it's maize that says you've got to plough because they leave such thick stalks behind. But if I could get away with mulching, and then I could direct drill and I don't have to spray for weeds, that would be environmentally good and financially good and goodly good in all manner of ways. I could even get a bigger mulcher, but I don't think I need one. This will be fine. He is pleased as punch, isn't he, to be sitting in that lovely tractor. He's got a very smug look on his face. Oh, and he's bravely gone right up to the edge. Got to cut him some slack for that. That was a good effort. I'm just going to give myself a little bit more room so I can see what I'm doing. I like to line up that bit of the roller with the edge of the field. Just like that. And mulch away. Whoop, don't drift. Mulchy driftage. And then I'm going to do the top end. Might do this, then whiz down there, then set it on auto and go and have a look and see what's happening in the rest of the farm. I think not much is happening. I think the pigs will need some attention. I hope we haven't had a mass die-off. They should be fine. They had plenty of food, but they will probably need topping up now because they were running out of base food, I think. And there were some that were worth £1,000 a pop. So let's go and have a little look at the animal situation. Yeah, so base food. Health is down to 61% because they've run out of base food. So that's not terribly clever. New baby piggies have just arrived. Look at all these guys. Unhealthy. Not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit and reload. So I should be back in a moment. Right, so little bit of a cheeky reload there because I had allowed my pigs to suffer, and I'm not happy about that. Been just a little bit complacent. They were down to very little base food, and their health had dropped to 61%. So we need to do something about that now. So they have 7,000 litres of pig food. Let's find my little tutty tractor. Let's fill this up. This holds 8,000 litres, 8 cubic metres of material. So let's fill it up with pig feed, which is the required pig food for this particular map. It doesn't let you go, just pick your own thing. It insists on pig food. But pig food alone is not enough. Man cannot live on pig food alone, as it says in the book of Farming Simulator. Even though men and pigs are very similar in terms of their biology, omnivorous, similar lengths of intestine relative to the body size. Apparently humans taste a little bit like pork. Supposedly, cannibal tribes referred to humans as long pig. Sounds a little bit improbable to me, but there you go. So the base food is improved. Shall I put more base food in? If I put another... I mean, base food is supposed to make up the majority of things. So let's put another load of base food in. Oh, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just chuck in whatever's left in here, if there's some stuff in here. Yeah, that's left over from, it's run out of materials, but that's what was left. And so this is protein for animals. I'll chuck some of this in. And then I will chuck more base food in. And then we will top up put more base food in, and then we'll top up with some potatoes. Bingo. £4,000. It eats into things. I need to start making some money back on these piggies. I think I might sell all the big ones. Well, that's probably okay for the moment. They're a little bit low on straw, they're a little bit low on water, and there's some slurry to take away. So let's deal with that. And we'll also look at the stocking levels, by which I don't mean how high their tights are. I mean whether there are too many pigs for the size of the unit. I think 320 is its maximum. I don't think we're anywhere near that, but they are breeding, so there are more than we put in, which is how which is how you make money. That's all good. Now then, what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of the rest of that water because I want to pick up some slurry. So I'm going to get rid of the water by tipping it into the government drain over here. And I actually get paid a little bit for that. £910 worth of water, which is ridiculous, but it's a way of emptying things that can't otherwise be empty. There's nowhere else to put the water, nothing else that takes water. I could probably get some sort of water storage device. Oh, and I could put it into my secret underground storage bunker. Let us fill up. This takes 20,000 litres, I think. I wonder whether there is as much as 20,000 litres. Well, there is. And I'll go and put it. I'm going to plant the entire farm up to corn. Oh, whoa! That wasn't very intelligent. I'm going to plant the entire farm up to corn. Once I've harvested the 2 crops that I've got, put the whole farm into corn. Because we're getting it should be ripe and ready and saleable at exactly the time that corn is at its highest price. And corn does require a little bit of fertiliser, so I can use slurry as fertiliser for, well, as much as the farmers as will take it. I will run out of slurry before I've done it. But if I could cover, say, the big field completely in slurry, that will reduce the amount of fertiliser I'll need to put on. So it's all about just trimming off those margins. Another way to trim off the margins would be to not keep employing workers to do everything, but I like to employ workers. I think it's good for the rural economy. Another 20,000 litres, that's all right. The battery on this thing just seems to last forever, which is very pleasing. Oh, I suppose I've got it set to low fuel usage, haven't I? Yeah, so that's why that is. I'll just hop out and have a little look. Slurry. Yeah, you see, I'm going to have 100,000 litres of slurry in here. What the slurry application rates are like, I don't know. Whether I put the slurry on before I plant the crop, it's quite nice to put it on beforehand because you rotate through all the different textures that the thing is capable of producing. But I wonder whether it would make more sense to take the slurry, put the slurry on once the crop is in, and then you can use crop sensor and it'll put the right amount of slurry on for the crop that you're growing. Or otherwise it'll put the right amount on for the soil type. There is almost certainly a definitive answer to that. But I like, in principle, to put the slurry on and then drill, because that drives the slurry into the soil, because the drill's got a cultivator built in. You can't just leave the slurry on the surface because it's not being incorporated. I suppose it soaks in a way that manure doesn't. Manure needs to be ploughed in or cultivated in. Slurry, being liquid, just sort of soaks its way in. There can't be more, surely. There is more. We've taken quite a lot out of here. And yet there is more. Ah, that really is it. Good. That's more than I was expecting. Avoided the bumps that time. Lovely quiet cab. Splendid. Now then, I'm going to fill this up with water again and go and park it. We're going to assume that the process of filling it up with water also cleans it out. Don't want to be... The water doesn't look very clean, does it? Look at that. A, it's missing. And B, it's brown. These are small details. I'll just see if this device is short of water. Its trigger point is nice and wide. Look at that. It was a little bit short of water. That machine is making protein for animals, which is one of the things that pigs require. It makes it out of chopped sugar beet, barley, water and minerals. It took me ages to find out minerals, and you have to buy minerals as if they in pallets from the pallet shop, which took me a long time to find out. I'm going to disconnect, I think. Leave that water bowser there. Pop this tractor back. So that's job number one, which is to check that the piggles are going to be okay. I think I can whiz through to the next month. I'm in the process of testing whether, if you mulch whilst the field is full of weeds, whether that permanently eradicates the weeds. So last month in September, I mulched just this little tiny patch here. And it doesn't say weeds are growing. It does say over here, weeds, small weeds, but I mulched it, no weeds, and I'm wondering if that's a permanent fix. Oh, it's saying small weeds. That's interesting. It's now saying something different. Oh, okay. Small weeds. Small weeds over here. Inconclusive. Let's whiz through to the next month. The chicken's okay. Chicken's okay. They haven't got very much grain. Good job I checked. They've got protein, but they don't have grain. So let's sort them out. I shall go and grab some wheat from my personal stores. I don't need to buy this. I've got some. What I don't have very much of is I don't think I've got any mineral feed, which is different to protein for animals. Anyway, we'll go and have a look and see what it is that the thing needs. It might need mineral, it might need the same. Let's fill it with wheat. I'll put in as much wheat as it will take. Just had a news alert. It's nothing good, but it's nothing too dramatic either. Jiggy-diggy-yiggy-ding-ding. Now then, let's get this right. I don't want to put too much grain in because grain's only supposed to be 70%. and then the protein is meant to be 30%. Let me get out and read the little notice. It says, oh, it's the same animal proteiny stuff that I give to the pigs. Okay. That's convenient. It's almost like the chap who designed this map thought it through. So that 8,000 litres is far too much because it's only taking 2,000 litres. So I need to just put a tiny amount in. Well, I'm not very good at that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the tip side to grain door because then it doesn't come out quite so quickly. Oh, what's that done? It's not changed anything very much. It's increasing the grain. I could possibly be a little bit braver than this. Good, let's keep going. Oh, didn't mean to do that, meant to do that. No, didn't mean to do that. I did mean to do that, but why is it leapt away from animals? That's strange. Oh, it's nearly full. So I'll go and dump this and put... I'll dump this and put animal... protein for animal in. Slow emptying. Grain door is very useful if you're tipping into quite a small, into something like a conveyor or you know, a unit that has a relatively small diameter. Is very handy. I don't remember ever doing that as a farmer's son. It was always kick the whole back door open, dump the lot. But when we first started farming, we were only doing beef cattle, what are known as store cattle, which means animals that we stored and we fattened up and then we sold on. And we had a feed mixer that we would buy raw materials for and mix up our own feed, and that had a relatively small spout, and so we'd use the guys who delivered that would use their grain doors. Very boring. Now we're looking for protein for animals. That should be enough. I'll chuck as much of that in as I can, which isn't very much because I've not left enough room. There we go. So now we've got 100% effectiveness, and it doesn't look like it's 70%, 30%, does it? It looks like it's, well, it's not far off, I suppose. It's not far off. Anyway, chickens are all right. Just have a little look, see if they've laid any eggs. If so, I might quickly sell them. Let's get rid of this. Let's change the let's tip that back in there. Add it to my reserve supplies. Pop this up into the big open shed. Sorry if that driving makes you feel seasick. It made me feel seasick, or car sick, electric tractor sick. Let's go and have a little look at the egg situation. I don't think I've had chickens long enough to have any eggs. I don't know where the eggs would appear if I did have eggs. Oh, I've picked up eggs before, haven't I? Objects too heavy. Well, that's a bore. I thought I'd got super strength to pick things up. So that is going to need to be picked up in some fashion. Fortunately, in this game, they can sit there for months and they never go off. But that's not entirely satisfactory. One feels like they ought, once there are eggs, they ought to be going somewhere. Let me see if this thing takes... why am I indicating? There we go. Let me see if this thing can be modified to take a front-end loader. If so, it would be perfect for moving eggs. I don't want to buy another vehicle because when I scroll through, it's a sort of another scroll. Otherwise, I'll need to get a little. Let's do a little repair. Let's customize. No option to have a front-end loader. Not surprising, really, all things considered. So we might have a little think about what we're going to do about that. Maybe we're going to get ourselves a little trailer that will sort of collect pallets automatically. What's this? Trailer can sort other vehicles. That's very nice. This trailer can be used to transport your pallets. But of course I can't get them in there unless it auto-loads. And I don't know if it auto-loads. That's a bit on the big side. What's this thing? This tool can be used to transport pallets. Okay, and does it attach itself to the back end of a... Does it just attach itself to any old tractor? Could it attach to my little electric tractor? That's the question. This thing transports pallets as well. And that attaches to the back of a tractor. This is getting good. Except it's £10,000. I don't fancy that. Just not for just sort of one pallet at a time. Oh, what's that? Chaff leveler. Nice. Weird bits and bobs. Lizard Mobile Workshop. Nice. A rear platform, but transport platform for various materials. Yeah, but it doesn't have an auto load. I wouldn't have thought. If it auto loaded, that would be awesome, but I doubt it does. So, what we could try... these are auto-loady things, but a trailer with auto-load, which will take all those things, including eggs. So that is a possibility. If it's a dinky little fella. What are the colour options? Matte green is an option, which is pleasing. Rim colours can go Fent red, although not that you can really see that. It's £13,500. Well, if I buy it and it's no good, I can sell it back and I'll get almost that, won't I? So let's buy it. And then I can use it for transporting stuff in pallets. Which will be useful down the line. I may have to buy more pallets of minerals. In fact, I could try it out now and see if it auto picks up pallets of minerals. I'll buy some more minerals and we'll see what happens. Thrilling stuff. Then we will move forward a month. Mulch that field, see what happens. Move forward another month and harvest the sunflowers. And conceivably we'll need to chop the tops off the turnips as well at that point. things might get hectic. An exciting prospect. Get out of my way because I'm not stopping for you. Woo! Right, whilst I'm here, I shall nip in and buy some more. Where's the shop? It's this way. I shall nip in and buy some more pallets of mineral feed. And I know it's quite a long way along, isn't it? It comes in little bottles, little yellow lidded bottles. I'm sure. There we go. Mineral pallet. Shall we buy a few of them? They're £180 each, so let's buy a bunch of them. And let's see whether this thing will auto-load those, or I can pick those up by hand. Open door. I don't think it's going to know what these are at all. Can I just pick them up and throw them in? That's not at all what I was trying to achieve there. What I was going for was greater tidiness, not greater untidiness. Blimey. It's quite impressive that it's a quirk of the physics, isn't it? That because I'm lifting this up, that somehow I'm then capable of lifting up the entire vehicle, even though I'm nowhere near strong enough to do that. I just need to get him in there. We're not too fussed about things, are we? Please don't keep falling out. Are the doors going to close with it just sort of hanging out the edge like that? Bink, it does appear that that is the case. It says you first need to fill the tools, so it doesn't think there's anything in there. Which is a shame. But maybe it's the nature of these mineral things that they're not recognised because they're unique to this. Are they unique to this map? No, I don't think they can be, can they? I've not seen them before, but then I've led a very sheltered life. Just checking to see if there's any kind of unload option, but there isn't, which means I'm going to very neatly stack them over here in my classic fashion. Beautifully done. That's At least if you pick them up that way around, you sort of feel like you've got a half a chance of doing a decent job. Oh, I picked it up. I mean, do I want to stack them one up one way, one up the other way? I find the perspective on this is very tricky. I don't know where it is relative to me and to other things. Not that I'm making excuses for my incompetence. Ah, this one I don't seem to be able to pick up. That's interesting, isn't it? Ah, there we go. Just required a bit of crouching. Crouching tiger, hidden minerals. Now then, the point of this was for dealing with the eggs. A very expensive purchase in order to move some very inexpensive eggs. But I just imagined it might have other uses along the way. And it's not a vehicle that I'll switch to, so refill trailer. Bosh, look at that. Very neatly stacked. And they could live in here, and I'd feel a little bit better about them living in here than living wild. Oh, that sold them instantly for £2,500. So actually, it won't take long before I've paid off the ridiculously expensive purchase of this wagon. I'm feeling better about all of that, despite the fact that I probably shouldn't. Can I reverse it? I guess in theory I can. I love this little electric tractor. It's just a cutie. Now then, shall we finally swing through to November, at which point nothing will be ripe. Oh, should I save first? Yeah, I guess I should, knowing my general levels of incompetence. Although I could have saved incompetence over goodness. That is always the risk with saving. I'm going to need another cup of tea in a moment. It's crisis in my life. Let's go and let's have a little look. Let's have a little look this way at how things are. Three very dark green. I think they will all be ready. This one here will say remove tops, which you have to chop the green leafy stuff off before you can harvest it. These two will say ready to harvest at the next month. Let's go down and have a look at the animals. Chickens are all happy, and I don't think they'll run out of anything overnight, but we might top them up. We might top up the grain and the protein. One thing we could do, I wonder if there's some sort of little thing like a wheelbarrow or something that you could use just for really small quantities of stuff. If you just want 500 litres of something in a shovel or in a front end loader bucket, I suppose, but that would probably mean buying another tractor. These have masses of food, big long green line, but each individual type of food is threatening not to be is threatening to be running out. Now, the other thing is Is this the highest price that I'm going to achieve for these animals? Is it worth selling them at 1,337? I might nip over yields. Let's go, give them some more food, and let's contemplate a sales price. I don't know what the highest price you can get for pigs is. Pigsies. Pigsies. Let's first of all do. Let's do a little bit of grain for the chickens, and then we'll put a little bit of mineral feed for the chickens, and then the rest of the mineral feed can go up to the pigs. Let's just do a little bit of grain. I'm going to fill them up with grain, I think, and then the next time I will feed mineral food. So I'll chuck as much of this in as will go, which isn't very much. There we go. And then the next time I feed them, trying to do two things at once, can't do it. Trying to do clever combinations of pressing buttons to change that. I don't want the grain door, I want tip side back, that's what we want. Hody dody. Such incompetence. And then I want to fill with no, then that's going to be too much. But we'll come back and grab some potatoes. When we get up there, we'll work out how much of this we want to put in. And I'm going to sell all my pigs that are over £1,000. Except possibly the breeding sows, which I'll keep. Let's first of all just have a little look. What's the situation? Okay, so this is protein. So we'll add a bit, and it's base food that we're really short of, isn't it? Let's add a bit. Okay, we can add a bit more. Okie dokes. Then I'm going to chuck some potatoes in. Then we'll top it off with base food. Oh look, more eggs. I can't remember how many potatoes we've got in here. Not very many. It only has to make up 10% of the diet, so there's probably already plenty in there. I mean, is 27,000, isn't there? Which isn't 10%. That's more than 10%. So I think base food's the thing we're going to add. It's not that I keep changing my mind. It's just that I keep realising where I've gone wrong. Because when I sell off all the big cattle, pig food, where are you, pig food? There you are. When I sell off the biggie piggies, they'll presumably eat less. So it should be good. Should all be very good. Let's whack. If it'll all go in, let's let it all go in. I can't remember what full is. It's not 100,000, is it? Or is it 90,000? Let's put as much more of this in as we can, which I reckon will be 1.5 more. 1 3/4 more. It's expensive stuff. Another £4,000 down the tubes. These piggies had better come good. Be fun to actually, again, my definition of fun. Be fun to set up a little spreadsheet and go through and see how much money I've spent on the pigs compared to how much money I've made from the pigs. I sort of don't care. It's just nice having them. Look at that one out there trotting around, having a lovely time. It's probably going to run through the fence in a moment. That'll be fun. Yeah, so we're not going to get quite another tank full in, but we'll try. And then any leftover pig food we'll put in our secret underground storage bunker. That isn't remotely realistic, but is very convenient. Hi, diddly die, a dumpy divey do. How much this is getting in? Over half? Oh. Escaped pig. Escaped pig. I don't think it's worth putting that into store, so I'm going to tip it down the government drain and pick up a bonus for doing that. Wonder how much I'll get for it. Little environmental bonus. Here we go. £199. Woof. So, piggies are sorted, but do we need to sell all the piggies, all the fattening piggies that are over 1,000? So I think that's come down in value from earlier on. That's 13 months. That's 15 months. Oh no, maybe not. Anyway, I think if we sell those and those, it'll make us some money and we'll free up a bit of room. Let's whiz over here and we'll sell them straight from the farm. We won't worry about getting a transporter. So I've got 300. Yeah, I've got to sell because we've got 310 animals in a capacity of 320. So that's a breeding. That's a breeding pig. Those are suckling pigs that are going to become breeding pigs. We might need to sell some of the older breeding pigs. But let's get rid of the fattening pigs first. Select and sell. These fattening pigs. Select and sell. Now then, those are 13-month-old breeding pigs. Those are 15-month-old breeding pigs, and they're 50% away from reproducing again. So we wouldn't want to sell essentially pregnant pigs. These guys are 14 months old. They're not pregnant. How many of them do we have? 10 of them. Let's sell them. So we've generated a little bit of space for ourselves. Given that, how many of these are there? These are all about to have... Oh, let's go this way. There's 60 of those, and they're all about to have babies. Okay, which will fill the space up. We could get rid of some other pigs that they're 4 months old. They're 15 months old, but they're preggers. Don't want to get rid of any preggers pigs. Let's have the offspring. We could get rid of these. How many of these are there? 20 of them. 13-month-old breeders. Yeah. Okay. Those are babbies. Those are young. Those are about to have babies. How many of these are there? 20. So they're about to have 20, presumably 20 babies. Yeah, it's gonna get squeezy. We're going to end up with quite a lot of pigs again. But that's all right. 98% health because the little babby ones are not 100% health yet. And the slurry situation is we've got another goodly quantity of slurry there. Right. 2 remaining things to do this month. One is to mulch the whole of that weedy field and see what happens. I suspect nothing much will happen. As in, I suspect that when I come to sow it, it'll claim there are weeds there again, but we've got to try it. So we hop into this beastie, fire her up. Have a little look at our worker. Oh, it's me. Unmistakably me. I forget that. Only it's because it's me driving, it's not a worker. It's clever, this game knows what's going on. Much better idea of what's going on than I have. That is all mulchy mulch. Let's mulch this whole field, which is absolutely chocker full of weeds. This is going to chop everything up into little tiny bits. I'm going to try and keep that little black mark on the edge of the field. And I'm going to drive right into this bush so that I do the whole field. Beautifully done. And then let's whiz up this side. Keep that little black... Oh, I've missed a bit. Keep that little black mark. Oh, look at this. I mean, this level of incompetence you rarely see. Maybe the black mark's a little bit tight. Maybe I should be aiming for the next little joint. Something like about that. Is this the sort of thing that would be easier with a steering wheel? That's the question. I mean, I can drive. It's just that every little tweak of the controller causes the vehicle to lurch left and right. There is no smoothness to it. But I've seen people playing, my Danish cousins, when they used to come and visit and they played on my PS4, they had so much control over what they were doing. One of them now plays Counter-Strike for a professional team. He isn't a professional. It's a professional team with, with amateur players in it, as well as professionals. And he's one of the amateurs. I'm going to hit worker. Now we'll have a little look and see who our worker is. Oh, my word. I can't believe I'd ever have employed somebody with a moustache and a beard like that. There you go, maybe he just came from an agency or something. It would be quite nice to be able to have a fixed selection of workers, your own employees, and you could go into the character design area and say, right, these are the guys I'm going to have. And you could set up, I don't know what the maximum number of workers the game will allow, but let's say it allows 5 simultaneous workers. You could go and design your 5 simultaneous workers. Then you could make up little stories about them, where they come from. You'd have to have a couple of locals, older chaps who've know everything, been here for years. A couple of young bucks, fresh from agriculture college. Oh, Giants, if you're listening. It's about as likely as real Giants listening. Right, I'm going to go and make a cup of tea whilst this is happening. Apologies for my rudeness. I shall return. Ah, new cup of tea. Feeling good. And my man with the dodgy moustache has not quite finished doing the field, but he has done a good job. So I don't know why I'm rude about him. Rude about his moustache. He's a very competent professional. It's almost as if moustaches don't come into such things. Am I going to be able to do the whole lot in one? Ah, it's going to miss a bit, isn't it? It's going to miss a bit. Worst scenario is that it misses a bit on both sides, which it doesn't do. Somehow it reaches out into the ether and shreds stuff that should be out of reach. Just this last little bit to do. So, I mean, mulching is worth doing, but if it removes weeds permanently, then that is, from my point of view, a game changer. Discovering that ploughing removed weeds permanently was a game changer for me, particularly when I realised that you can sort of finagle the ploughing a bit. So it doesn't say weeds growing. It doesn't say it. And does that mean that weeds will not be growing? At no point, at not no how, no point in no future, there will be no weeds. That is, as it were, whoop, I wasn't watching then, the question. So easily distracted by all the things that are going on around me here. I'm going to put my lights on because I'm reversing into quite a dark shed. The last thing I would want to do in a public forum like Twitch was reverse into a vertical metal pole, or horizontal metal pole, any kind of metal pole. Concrete wall. You know, any of those things. Next month, which is going to be December, but it's going to look like June, because I've got a fixed season. Next month, we're going to have a lot of harvesting to do, and I think I might cut the time lapse thing down from 5 times to actual time, because there'll be a lot to do. And those turnips, they take a lot of, do I mean turnips? Sugar beet. They take a lot of doing. Right, I'll save, because of my tendency to be overcautious. I'll see you all in December. Whoa. Here we are. What's happened over here? I'm interested to see. Yeah, of course it says pH value is good and nitrogen is perfect because it thinks it's soybeans. I mean, it's not fresh soybeans, it's old soybeans. Here are my lovely sunflowers. I've got another field of sunflowers over here. I ought to have a little vehicle, shouldn't I? Like a little motorbike, and I could whiz around. But again, it would keep popping up as we scrolled through. And that would make me grumpy. More sunflowers, all ready to harvest. I think I'm going to harvest in my usual way, using my little modded, my very fast, very small harvester, because it's cheap. And this is going to say remove tops, remove foliage. So I'm going to need to buy a machine to remove that foliage, or possibly rent a machine to remove the foliage. So let's have a little think about that. Either we hire a whole great machine that does the whole thing, that cuts and collects. How much would one of those be to rent? £24,000. This thing is nuts. It is great, but it's silly. It's a bit too silly even for me. It's cheap. It drives. It'll hold 5,000 cubic meters of stuff. It'll drive at 35 miles an hour whilst it's harvesting. I mean, it's great if you've got really big fields to do, and sometimes you buy a field and you've ended up with a crop that you don't really want. That's great, but I think I'm going to do it in a slightly more boring way, in that I'm going to just use I'm going to use a top. This harvester digs the. This is just a topper. Sugar beets can be harvested. The foliage needs to be cut with a Holm topper like this one. This is a 3 meter, 6 mile an hour. Why is that one different to this one? Oh, because it does carrots and stuff. And it's cheaper. It's a 3 meter one, so it's going to take forever. Let's cut the foliage and go from there. Let's cut the foliage and go from there. 3 meter foliage cutter. Let's lease that. We'll just check in vegetable technology that I didn't buy any little. This tool is used to create ridges into which you can plant your vegetables. This tool is create ridges. Special planter. Special planter. That's a lifter. Lifting. Harvesting. Nothing there that is sugar beet related. So that's all good. We'll just check in miscellaneous. That there isn't anything sugar beet related. Some little sneaky deaky device. Doesn't look like it. Looks like we're on the way with this thing. Did I, in fact, rent it? Yes, I've leased it. So we'll hop into. I mean, we could. How much horsepower does it require? Should we get the electric tractor to do it? It requires 85 horsepower. Electric tractor is 60 horsepower. No, I think we'll go with the Fendt. We'll just let the Fendt bomb up and down. The only thing to think about at this point, yeah, I'm going to have to get the other fields harvested, aren't I? So let's cut time down to real time, because this is going to get quite tense. I'm going to have to get the other fields harvested because it's going to be a full-time job harvesting the sugar beet. I'm going to need to have I'm going to have a worker on the harvester, and then me collecting the beet and transporting it. Oh, the effort required. Look at this little thing. Oh, I don't think it's that. I don't think we attach from that end, do we? Attach from this end. Have I bought the right thing? Yeah, I think so. Doesn't look too bad on this tractor, to be honest. 3 metre leaf cutter. You know, that's fine. Let's start at this top end and take care of the scruffy bit. Cool. Now then, I'm going to need to lease a combine in order to do the fields. And I feel like this could be the way to go. It's what I've done before. Standard wheel setup. Let's have Fendt Classic. Let's go Fendt Classic. Because the fields aren't that big, are they? It's only £5,000 to lease it. Get the job done. And then I'm going to need a header, but a corn header. Now, if I take the big corn header, which I love, I'm only going at 6 miles per hour, so I shall get the speedy. I'll get the speedy corn header and make it Fendt Classic in colour. And then let's lease that for 2,000. So I've spent £8,000 on combine technology. It's doing a very nice job. I'm just going to set it. I was going to say I could just leave it like that, couldn't I? It's not going to make a huge difference that it's going that way as opposed to going the other way. We've just got to let it get on with it. Oh, hang about. It's sunflowers. Does this do sunflowers? I've been thinking in terms of corn. Does this do sunflowers? I haven't just had a complete. Yeah, it does sunflowers. I thought I'd had a moment. As you can get dedicated sunflower headers, which are very nice looking things. I think I'm going to do the big field first. Get a decent yield of sunflowers, so I'll be quite busy hauling. I'm going to put the the extensions on the trailer, but then I can't get the trailer underneath the. God, this is slow, isn't it? Top speed of 12 miles an hour, but it does 12 miles an hour in the field, and that feels fast. This is excruciating. I feel excruciated. It's one thing to be cruciated, quite another thing to be excruciated. Presumably that's where the Cruciatus curse comes from, in old Harold Potter. Not much unfathoming, unwinding that needs doing. Cool. We're going at a hell of a lick. Your sunflowers are getting a hell of a beating. Winston Churchill, Margaret Thatcher, your sunflowers are getting a hell of a beating. I was getting stressed. I'll come out. Bing! Rock down the end. Oh. That was me driving it before, wasn't it? I thought it was me driving it. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I had a work. I mean, it did seem suspiciously competent. But I thought it was me. Maybe it's the other tractor that stopped working. We'll stop at the end of this row and have a little think about that. Well, it's happily chuntering along. God, it's going to take a while. That's now 3 strips along here. So I shall go up to field next time and then do 3 strips across the other end, and then I shall set Boris to work and go find myself a tractor and trailer. Make sure I catch those at outside row. Do sunflowers force ploughing? That is my question. I'm sure that root vegetables do. I think the sugar beet will require that I plough afterwards, and I think maize does. I mean, I've got periodic ploughing turned on, but I have ploughed these fields. Weeds growing, no needs ploughing. So quite possibly I will be able to get away with mulching, my new mulching tactic, if it turns out to be genuine. And than direct drilling. Sunflower is an interesting crop. It's used for lots and lots of different things. Of course, sunflower oil, cooking. Then you've got the leftover pulp, which can be used as animal feed. The husks of the sunflower seeds can be made into a sort of chipboardy stuff and can also be burnt, I believe, as a sort of a biofuel. I think the straw can be used as a biofuel. There's lots of sunflowers out here, but I haven't seen any being harvested yet. In fairness, though, the weather hasn't been great, and I haven't been out and about much. It'll be interesting on Wednesday when I drive to La Rochelle to see what's been happening on the sunflower front, whether any have been harvested. Quite a lot of maize has been harvested. Oh, it's raining again. The sun came out a moment ago and it was beautiful. And now it's raining again. Which makes me feel less guilty about being in here doing this, because I couldn't be outside doing anything more profound, if there is indeed anything more profound than playing Farming Simulator and talking to yourself. Oh, I know why it keeps popping up with that. It's because I keep pressing B on my controller to stop cruise control when I should be pressing really anything else. Now then, here we have a dilemma, which is that if I make it to the end of this row, which I might do, I might make it to the end of this row without being full. Yeah, I think I will. If I go down that side, then when I am full, I will be on the wrong side to fill up a trailer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fourth length of this field. I'll just have to work it to do that whilst I run off and pick up my tractor and trailer to come and collect the grain. So set a worker. Well done. Good little tweak. And then I shall come and grab this. Now then, I don't think that I can afford to, and by afford to I don't really mean afford to, I don't think that necessarily I will be able to get underneath. I don't think I'm going to be able to get underneath this combine with the extension on. I'm going to give it a go because, you know, there's nothing to lose. It's only 20 to 9 in the morning. Well, if I can get the tractor underneath the spout, they're the same height. So maybe it'll be all right. It'll just make life a little bit more efficient because I will have that extra 10,000. I'll be able to fill up 3 times, essentially. I mean, that is easy peasy. I'm tempted to say it's possibly lemon squeezy. I'm going to set my cruise control to 12 because I might chase the combine a bit just to keep me doing things, keep me busy. Because I reckon we've got quite a long way to go over here. Oh. I can feel my resistance to the really quick harvester crumbling as we speak. It's all in German. Oh, how interesting. Nice keypad up there. Not sure what that's all about. Right, we're going to start running up and down. Hopefully there's enough room at each end. Hopefully there's enough room at each end for it to be able to turn around comfortably. I'll just drive around and hover at this end. I'm just going to look in on the pig situation. Pig situation is that we are, broadly speaking, all healthy, including the little babby ones that are 0 months old. Well, they're 80%. Oh, they've literally just been born. Literally overnight they were being born. I've got 60 of them. Cool. Well, most of my animals are pretty young. Those are old. And they're 75% reproduction, which means they're going to bang out a baby in a moment. Those guys, I might need to get rid of these. I might need to go to the piggery. And have a little look at the numbers situation. Yeah, so the numbers situation is that those guys that are 0% breeding probably need to be sold. They are 75%. They are 0%. How many of them are there? There are 60 of them. We can't have them breeding because that will be a nightmare. So I'm going to sell them. So, I mean, that's £60,000. It's better than a poke in the eye with a plastic stick. Plastic duck. And then these guys are going to sprog out at any moment. And there are, how many of these are there? There's only 20 of them. Okay, so they'll produce, presumably, 20 offspring. And then there might be a little bit of a delay before we get any more. But I think the pigs have probably made me quite a lot of money, which is nice. And why is he driving all over the crop? Is he claiming he doesn't have enough room? Because I find that hard to believe. Let's have a look at him. See what we think. Yeah. It's that guy again. He's very well dressed, isn't he? Look at him. Those smart trousers and a really nice shirt and a heck of a watch. What am I paying him? Must be paying him a fortune. But what's he going to do at this end? Now he's got 4 header widths of room to turn around at this end. Is he going to drive all over the crop, or is he going to sensibly use the space that's available? Oh, yeah, he's going to use the space. So does that mean I need to put one more strip in down the bottom end? I guess it does. And what I might do is chase him down there with the tractor and fill up, because he's 64%, which means I don't think he'll necessarily make it down and back again. So let me position myself. It's quite tricky at this speed. Gone quiet because I'm concentrating. Then, mate. Let's do another strip in this direction. Oh, is he going to miss that? Is he going to miss that? Is he going to miss that? Oh, I mean, really not his fault, but quite annoying, nonetheless. I think we might take care of that now. It will only need taking care of later if we don't do it now. Gosh. That's a wasteful trip. However, on the way back, I shall unload and then start up the other side. Then if it does rain or anything, there'll be a good space around the outside for the wind to get in. There we go. Hammering up the outside. I can feel myself getting anxious about these sugar beet because they take so long to harvest that I might not buy, I might well hire the super fast harvester just to get the job done. It goes very fast. It has ridiculously large storage capacity. As you put the entire, it would put the entire field's crop, I suspect, into its storage tank. And there's no need to chase around with a tractor and trailer. You just take it over to the store and tip it into the store and then go back again. And it'll just get the job done, won't it? Because at the moment my poor little tractor is hawking up and down, doing 3 meters at a time. I mean, it's a lot of money. Well done, mate. I wonder if it's the same guy. So I've got a new... Oh! That is a different guy. It is a gal guy. Should we let him finish that? I guess we could. There's no harm to it. other little beats. I feel some fairly hefty cheating coming along. It's only a game, it's not cheating. So what I mean by cheating is all in one. Sugar beet add-on. "24 miles an hour, 68 miles an hour." 24 miles an hour is probably enough. And then the vehicle itself, does it come under beat technology? It does. It's so we can have a capacity that is absurd, 250,000 litres. Give it a big old engine. Hub colour is going to be Fent. Design colour is going to be Fent Classic. No, main colour is going to be Fent Classic. Design colour is going to be Onyx Black, and rim colour is going to be Fent Red. And then to rent that is £10,000, which is peanuts really when you consider what it's going to do and the crop that it's going to harvest. Right, let's just take some stuff out of here. Look at it hammering down here. Bosh, 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 bosh. But of course, relatively small cutting width, relatively small storage tank. But cheap as chips to operate. Are chips particularly cheap? I guess they are. Gone quiet again as I concentrate. We'll do a full empty. If she stops at the end of this row, I'll stop too. And she'll chuck everything that remains in there. And I may as well go and tip it at this point, because we're pretty full. 90% is good enough. Just had an email. How nice. It's a nice one. It's a personal one. So, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm just going to check under vegetable technology. This thing does everything. Now, the tricky thing, let's go for 250,000 capacity. Let's go for the biggest engine, 5,000 horsepower. Don't know why. Hub colour. What is the hub? Let's make it Fent red. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's the hub. Okay, no, let's not. Let's make it onyx black. Main colour is going to be Fent classic. Design colour is going to be Fent. No, it's not. It's going to be onyx black. And then rim colour is going to be Fent. I think that's a good looking machine. And we're going to lease it. Yes. Then I need a header. Now this is where I get a little bit confused, I will confess. In that this thing, which is the sugar beet add-on, I think I might need, as well as this header that does 24 miles. An hour whilst it harvests, so twice as fast as the combine is currently going. And I think this chops and lifts, so all that chopping has been a complete waste of time. But you know. I have a feeling. Oh, crikey, it's quick. It's got a top speed of 200 miles an hour. So one has to be a little bit careful. Now, I don't think it'll do sugar beet without the sugar beet add-on. I'm going to set it, to 24 miles an hour, because otherwise it goes too fast. Cruise control, let's set the cruise control to 30. Which is quite quick for a vehicle this large. Whoa. It's just chaos. It's chaos. It's just a means to an end, though. A means to an end. Let's gun it down here. Oh, got to 93 and then chickened out. Classic. Now then, is it prepared? Will it? Will it cut this field without the no field found? Oh, got it. I suspect that without the without the add-on, which I don't understand why you have to have, an add-on to an add-on. I'm going back. Without the sugar beet add-on, it will not harvest sugar beet. I don't understand. Let's see if we can lease the sugar beet add-on. Oh, I see. Working with. Should we go standard working width? 50 meters is nuts, isn't it? Let's go standard working width. And it costs. Then I come up to it like this. And I add it as a tool. Oh! It did pop up at the front. There we go. Attach. That means I can now harvest sugar beet, which I couldn't before. Let's flip through to this combine because it's pretty much full. Oh, things are falling apart. I've got distracted. I'm going to stop her. Put the we'll unload. She's only 90-something% full, but that doesn't matter. Done such a good job, and it's about to be rendered completely moot by the presence of this absolutely massive machine. It is about to come and scream up and down that field at a ridiculous speed. Look out, world. Here I come. Oof. Gotta say. Nice layout. See if I can get to 100. I don't know if I did. This is not my field. Let's drive across it. This is my field here. And presumably it will now recognise the field and go screaming up it, removing the tops and harvest it. Oh, that's interesting. So it's going to do all of this much more slowly. Ah! Interesting. Is the fact that I've removed the tops going to mean that it's going to struggle? Oh, that would be a low blow. I mean, it's still a big machine. It'll still harvest the field. Maybe I have to it's only going to go at 6. Well, I suppose one thing that we ought to do is stop this, because at least it'll do all of that at 9 million miles an hour. We can give back we can give this back. Because what we've done is made the job slower rather than faster, which I guess somebody would have known was going to happen. It's very interesting. If it becomes problematic, we could make the header width larger. Park up here. So that's it's only 9:10. So what we need to do is to clear this top end, turn it all green, and then go up and down the field. Presumably it'll sort of randomly accelerate at times when it hits a foliagey bit. It's pretty epic. And then why is it suddenly saying I'm not harvesting this? It's going to be temperamental. I suppose it's entitled to be temperamental if it wants to be. I wonder if it's because I've set the cruise control. Let's undo the cruise control. It's been a funny move. I have to drive the thing myself. What a frightening thought. It turns around at the ends quite... Whoa! Turns around at the ends quite quickly, doesn't it? Bells, bells. This is terrifying. Yeah, well. It doesn't seem to be picking... Oh, yes, it does. I'm not sure how efficiently it's picking stuff up. It's like some sort of speeded up film, isn't it? I didn't know what the effect of increasing the horsepower was. That's increasing the speed. Oh, I'm glad I didn't choose 68 miles an hour for harvesting speed. I'd have been absolutely terrified. Okay, well there we go. Whew. Let's have a little look and see that, yeah, well, I've missed a few bits, but broadly speaking, it's been harvested. What's going on here? You see, I've taken my eye off the ball. And that's going to cost me money. Right, now then, what I need to do at this point is to whiz down this side. To the end here, and do a couple of widths of the field from here, which should be fine, because everything should be exactly as it would wish to find it. But then it doesn't like it there. Maybe it's just because it knows it can't turn around. Let's test that hypothesis by whizzing up this side, which was not my initial intention. It's going to do those slowly. We're still going to do them. And we're not going to take very long to do the whole field, I suppose. I'm a bit miffed. There's no point denying it. I am a tad miffed. How are things looking on the animal front? These are rapidly approaching puberty, at which point they will start to breed. These ones are 75% breeding. Those are approaching. Those have just only a month old. These are less than a month old. They want plenty of food, I think. A bit short on straw. We might get them some straw. If I've got some straw in here, which I should have. Oh, it's not where the straw goes. I don't think 8,000 litres of straw goes very far. Might have to do this several times. This seems to be doing an adequate job. It will presumably accelerate ridiculously when it hits this bit here. Boom. So what I'm going to do now, it will grind to a halt when it thinks it doesn't have enough turning space. Which is there. So I'm going to come around here. And then when I get to the top, I'm going to come down the outside. Make you stop at the end and empty. we just take out this little chunk. Stop there. So it might do this bottom section of the field pretty rapidly. So the big field is done, and it's only 9:26. And I need to go and get ready to cut the little field. And then I think I'm going to call it a day. It is 12:52. So there are lessons to be learnt about this thing. First of all, it's not that bad, but it's quite unnecessary to have a top speed of 200 miles per hour. And you just need to treat it right. Now I'm going to go and dump all of this sugar beet, and then I am going to call it a day. I'm going to nip the corner off this field. I am quite tempted to gun the little motor at some point. I'm going to want to be pointing the other way. Nearly 250,000 litres of beets. Bosh. Just like that. We'll just set her going again. Do you know, that's not a bad way to cut this field. But because I think there's turning room at the far end, without cutting a headland, I'll set her going this way. Let's bomb across your field. Ooh-wee. Let's get some speed up. Right, let's carry on from this end. And on the bombshell, I'm going to call it a day. Farewell.